I don't think people understand just how close China came to disaster that midnight in the West Philippine Sea. What forced a powerful fleet to vanish into the darkness, leaving the world guessing? The night was as black as a tacksman's heart. Out in the West Philippine Sea, sky and water merged into one furious, churning void. Rain lashed sideways, driven by a wind that howled like a wounded beast. On the bridge of the BRP Antonio Luna, lightning revealed monstrous waves threatening to swallow the ship whole. Yet the Filipino crew moved with eerie calm, no panic, just quiet voices and the glow of radar screens in determined eyes. They were a small fleet, outnumbered and outgunned, but tonight they relied on patience, not firepower. Engines hummed at a whisper, lights extinguished, ships hidden behind reefs and the raging tempest. They waited, invisible, ready. On the tactical display, faint green dots, Filipino ships, held their positions with skill. The captain, silent and watchful, knew the risks and the odds, but trusted his crew and the treacherous waters they called home. The plan was audacious, a high-stakes game played with warships. The prize, sovereignty. Tension thickened the air. Every radar flicker sent a jolt through the bridge. They were the underdogs, David to a lurking Goliath, but tonight their weapon was the sea itself, a coiled spring, wound tight, waiting for the perfect moment. Midnight approached, and that moment was drawing thrillingly close. The storm outside was nothing compared to the storm of anticipation within. Then they appeared, a cluster of cold blips on the radar, a Chinese fleet, not just Coast Guard ships, but a spearhead of grey-hulled vessels in tight formation. Their lights blazed defiantly against the storm, engines churning the sea. It was a statement: we are here, we are strong. This sea is ours. The Chinese commanders, confident in their numbers and technology, advanced toward a strategic shoal. Their plan: arrive, assert presence, dare anyone to challenge them. It was a gambit they'd played before, always with success, but confidence can be dangerous. The lead cutter, flanked by agile escorts, moved as a single, powerful entity, a dragon gliding through the water. Unaware, they sailed into a carefully laid trap, deeper into a channel flanked by hidden reefs and silent Filipino ships. Their radar, blinded by rain, showed a clear path. The idea that they were prey, not predator, was unthinkable. That was the genius of the Filipino plan. It used the enemy's arrogance against them. The sea shifted as the Chinese fleet pushed deeper into the channel. The storm eased, rain thinning to a heavy drizzle, just as the Filipino commander had hoped. Now, the next phase could begin, the maneuver. The tide turned, current flowing against the Chinese, forcing their engines to strain. Filipino ships, anchored in the lee of reefs, used the environment to their advantage. The Chinese, powerful but clumsy, strained forward. The Filipinos, patient and still, waited. On radar, Filipino ships were stationary. The Chinese moved exactly as planned. The trap was not steel, but geography, a natural bottleneck. The entrance was wide, but the exit was narrow, flanked by unseen reefs. The Chinese, fixated on their goal, sailed past the point of no return. Now they were in the belly of the beast. Silence reigned on Filipino bridges. The waiting was almost over. The time to spring the trap had come. Tension reached its peak. The order came quietly. Execute. Filipino ships slipped from hiding, gliding across the channel entrance. They formed a solid line, no aggression, just presence. Navigation lights flicked on, transforming ghosts into an undeniable wall. The gate was closed. The Chinese fleet was bottled up, a treacherous path ahead, a new fleet behind. The maneuver's beauty was its simplicity: checkmate, no shots fired. The Filipino ships made no threats, just held their ground. The message was clear: move forward and risk disaster, or turn back and face us. On the BRP Antonio Luna, awe filled the crew as the Chinese fleet stopped, directionless. The Filipino line was a chain-link fence across the sea. The storm faded, moonlight casting a ghostly glow. The open sea had become a cage. The hunters were now the hunted. The silence was more powerful than any weapon. The trap was complete. On the Chinese flagship, confidence evaporated in an instant. A junior officer pointed at the radar, contacts behind them, a solid line. Not militia boats, but naval signatures. Confusion turned to dread. They'd been played. The weather, the tide. It was all part of a plan. Urgent commands crackled. All engines. Stop. Stand by. The discipline formation broke down. Momentum lost. Captains demanded answers. The flagship had none. Ahead, reefs, behind, an enemy fleet. Trapped. The Filipinos remained silent. No radio hails, no threats. Just their illuminated presence, a psychological masterstroke. The Chinese commander faced a terrible choice. Risk disaster ahead, or turn back and admit defeat. Either way, the pride of a nation was at stake. The silence was deafening, the realization was crushing. The standoff began, two fleets, a few kilometers apart, locked in a silent battle of wills. The Chinese, once a proud spearhead, now swept the waves with nervous searchlights. The Filipinos held steady, formation unbroken, discipline absolute. Every minute that passed was a victory for the smaller fleet. On the Chinese bridge, tension mounted, options dwindled. Forcing the line meant escalation and disaster. Retreat meant humiliation. The tide pulled seaward, making forward movement harder, retreat more tempting. The Filipino captain watched, knowing time was on his side. Filipino sailors, running on adrenaline, performed their duties with quiet professionalism. They had set the stage. Now they waited for the other side to act. This was a battle of minds, not missiles. The Chinese commander weighed pride against duty. Pushing forward risked disaster. Retreat was safe, but shameful. The searchlights became frantic, desperate. The longest night dragged on, every second a test of nerve. The decision came not with words, but with movement. The lead Chinese cutter turned, bow swinging back the way it came. One by one the fleet followed, a somber procession, no signals, no calls, just quiet defeat. They passed the Filipino line, a walk of shame witnessed by the moon and the victors. The Filipinos held position, a corridor of honor for a defeated foe. No gloating, just silent confidence. The last Chinese ship faded into the darkness. The Filipino commander watched the final red dot disappear. Victory had come through courage, patience, and mastery of the sea. Dawn painted the sky in orange and pink. The storm was gone, the sea calm and glassy. The BRP Antonio Luna and her sister ships basked in gentle morning light. Sailors, exhausted but proud, finally relaxed. Quiet celebrations, smiles, handshakes, coffee on deck. They had defended the shoal not with force but with strategy. The captain watched the sun rise, a testament to his crew's resolve. They'd proven that brains can outmatch brawn. The calm sea felt like a reward. This victory sent a message: clever strategy can triumph over brute force. It was the dawn of a new reality in the West Philippine Sea. What have we learned? Battles aren't always won by the biggest guns. This was a story of brains over brawn. The Filipino fleet used patience, the environment, and their opponents' overconfidence as weapons. Sometimes the most powerful move is to hold your ground. They forced a larger power into an impossible position without firing a shot. Strength is quiet confidence, the discipline to wait, the courage to hold a line. The Chinese fleet was powerful but rigid, the Filipinos agile and smart. The sea became their ally. The Chinese retreat wasn't weakness but recognition of being outmaneuvered. The greatest victories are won in the mind. The Filipino victory was sealed the moment the Chinese realized they were trapped. In the vast sea, it's knowledge, strategy, and nerve that truly matter.